Welcome to Highly Affected by Her Surroundings, the podcast where we reveal how your environment can make or break your day. Hosted by me, Nicole Rowe, owner and lead designer at Arnix and Interiors. Welcome to Highly Affected by Her Surroundings with Nicole Rowe. Today is really exciting because I have two designers with me that I met not that long ago, a year or two ago. Very different individuals, amazing humans. We're on text chains together, and they're a great sounding board. So we have Meredith Huck, wave hi for those watching, and Jamie Gasparovic, who in my phone is Jamie Gaspo. I'm going to let Meredith go first and give a kind of blurb about her, some background and some fun info, and then Jamie can jump in.
Jamie is also in my phone as Jamie Gaspo, by the way.
It's my nickname. It makes sense.
But hi, everyone. I'm Meredith Huck, owner and principal designer at House of Huck, a boutique interior design firm here in coastal Connecticut. I was just going to say a mom of two, but I'm actually a mom of three. I had a surprise child. But anywho, so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Nicole.
Yes, and I didn't realize this number 3 was a surprise, so that is freaking awesome. Well done. Okay, Jamie.
You guys and all your children. Okay. Hi, I'm Jamie Gasparovic. My company is Studio Gaspo, hence why they have me as Jamie Gaspo in their phones. And I'm based out of Orlando, Florida. I run a full-service design firm that specializes in custom builds, large-scale renos, and we like to work with modern disruptors. So I want people that are not just trying to do cookie cutter, basic BS, like they're ready to shake things up. And I was going to say 2 children also. Neither of you have 2 children. I have 2 kids that I don't really talk about. And yeah, I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
Okay, so welcome. Thank you for doing this. I want to say that for all of us, this wasn't like our first career. We've all done other things first. I think I was the closest, kind of always being in the construction industry, did some branding and marketing, but it was always kind of this creative construction world. But Meredith, you were like a complete 180. Why don't you talk about your first life?
My first life. So I have a background in corporate software sales, like not corporate software sales of design either. Like HR payroll has nothing to do with the industry that the 3 of us are currently in today. And I think I was just at this point about 3 years ago that I call it my YOLO moment. I just was tired of running the rat race of corporate. I will never forget, and my one friend that's going to listen to this, she'll be like, I remember that waking up startled randomly at like 2:00 in the morning that I forgot to send my CRO, the chief revenue officer of the company I was working at, an email that I said I was going to send. And I knew I would be like in so much trouble the next morning. So I at 2:00 in the morning, and if you know me, I like my sleep.
Sleep.
Yeah, I got up and wrote the email and then like went back to bed. So anywho, I have the business background, and I really, really think that is what has been that's what's helped me kind of catapult the business to where it is today. And I'm sure it will kind of come up through our conversations today. And of course, we talk about it all the time on our text chain, but I think I enjoy that business piece even more so than the design. It's taken me a little bit. You'll see I'm like getting out of the box a little bit this year. So in the coming years, our portfolio pictures, the homes that we're shooting will evolve from our cookie cutter, we'll call it, homes in the very beginning of House of Huck days. But yeah, I have no business being in this business is what I like to tell people.
You're killing it and being dramatic, but I appreciate your business background, and I didn't even know a CRO was a thing.
Oh yes.
So well done.
Yeah. I'm so glad. I do you guys ever like think about, oh my gosh, I can't believe however many years ago, like I was doing that thing. I don't know how I survived. Like, how did food get on the table? How did the kids get picked up from school? How did I survive? I don't know.
And prior to that, you were a collegiate soccer player.
Very much back in the day, I played soccer at NC State. Yes. So I had,
So another huge pivot for
yes.
sure.
Oh my gosh. Like I said, back in the day, I was very athletic. Not so much anymore, but yeah.
Okay, speaking of being athletic, Jamie, you're up.
Wait, why is that speaking of being athletic? I'm kind of athletic actually, but anyway, yeah, my previous career, I went to school for advertising and then I got my master's in business and I was doing like the marketing thing, the more corporate path. I pivoted to work for a couple of startups in marketing and sort of had my dream marketing job and still didn't really love it and realized like I had always liked design. My mom actually went to school for interior design when I was in high school. Like she went
I
back to
know
college.
that.
And so I feel like a lot of designers say, I didn't even know it was a thing. I'm like, I definitely knew it was a thing. I just thought like, oh, that's my passion. And then my professional passion is like advertising. But, it took me a little bit of time to realize that doesn't have to be a separate thing. I can actually pursue my passion as my business. So I pivoted and went back to design school and got my associates in interior design and did not stick around for the bachelor's. I felt like I had enough degrees already. So I just sort of did it to learn what I had to learn, get my foot in the door, and then was off and running with it.
Yes, I think you were good on degrees. But I think overall, we are all using stuff we had done in previous careers in school, especially the business side. The business side is hard.
Yeah.
I think that's why most people I don't want to use the word like succeed, but I think that's why most people are 10, 12, 15 years in and sending y'all DMs or sending me a DM being like, "Ugh, I'm not making any money," or how do you do this? Or I can't figure it out. I think that business part, like, and usually I find those people that are sending the messages are maybe they do have their bachelor's in design or they did intern at a firm or something like that, but they just don't have that like business savvy strategy piece that I
Yeah.
think kind of holds people back a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think in creative fields, it's like people are very good at their craft and they've learned their craft or it's a natural talent and they're super great in that lane. But then when it comes to monetizing that and creating an actual business out of it, it's hard for a lot of people to make that jump. And I think that is something that the three of us have in common is that we have like a business focus and a business sense like from our previous lives.
No, I completely agree. Okay, so something else I know we talk about all the time is kind of balancing trends. And I know trends can be like a dirty word, but with creating timeless. Right now there's so many micro trends and things that get popular or all of a sudden it's on every Pinterest. I know you both have different opinions on this. So Jamie, I'll let you kind of go first, but how do you balance kind of keeping relevant, I guess is the end all.
Relevant. Okay, so first of all, I think that if you love something, it's not a trend. I had a conversation at a networking event recently with someone who was asking me about green cabinets. And number one, green's my favorite color. So I'm like, yeah, do it. But also, she's like, is it a trend? Is it going to be whatever? And I'm like, well, do you love green? Do you love that color? Like, why do you want to do this? It's not like she wanted to do it because she heard green was trending. She wanted to do it because she loves that color. She's obsessed with that color. So I'm like, yeah, do it. You get this coming from a place of something that you love. So do it. I don't think it's trendy if you're doing it based off of your own personal preferences. So I like to let that guide the way for sure. I think sometimes if people's personal preferences feel very dated to me, like trendy via 2010, then I like to tell them like, this might feel outdated. What aspects of this are you resonating with? And how can we sort of like take that and spin it in maybe a more fresh way so that it doesn't feel like, I like to say 2010 Pinterest in your house because you're probably spending a lot of money on this custom home, on design, all of that. And I want it to feel fresh, but still like stuff that you love.
I actually echo exactly what Jamie said. I don't think I'm like, well, do you like it? And design is such a personal thing, right? Like what you might like, I might not like. And it doesn't mean that you're right or I'm right or you're wrong or I'm wrong. It's just like we have different styles or opinions or whatnot. And that is a little hard sometimes to navigate when a client says, oh my gosh, I just love this chandelier. I have to have this chandelier. And you're like, if you have that chandelier, I will not photograph your space, because it's not the vibe that maybe you're going for. But at the end of the day, they're spending all this money. It's their home. If they just have to have this trendy, whatever it may be, sometimes you just have to live with it. But I am super like shiplap. I think shiplap at one point, white shiplap, incredibly trendy. Now, I can't totally see if that's shiplap or TNG behind you, Nicole, but like you have some sort of millwork behind you, but it's not horizontal, right? I think the trendy thing back in the day was white horizontal shiplap. Like, what about if it goes vertical? What about if you do a deep, moody blue or green or have special, like only do it halfway up the wall? I think there are a number of different ways to like keep, for lack of a better word, your trend, your vibe evolving over time. But yeah, I'm also like, do you like it? Awesome. Let's do it.
Something interesting that Jamie said was what they've been comfortable with is what they think they like, which means they tell you have to see something, 100 times to like it. I think that's what's happening with some of these clients is they've seen that one white quartz countertop 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
And now they feel like that's what they like and what they have to have. So I guess now what's the secret, kind of the secret sauce to getting clients to step out of that comfort zone and really trust the two of y'all to make that more bold or newer or more relevant or less overdone choice? What do you think, Meredith?
That's hard. It's hard. So if you know, let me know. But I would say,
I
and
know.
I don't know if you both do this, but we do renders for our clients.
Yeah.
And I think that really helps them see the vision, right? Generally speaking, a client's hiring you because they can't see the vision. They do know that they want green cabinets, but like don't know what it's going to look like. Or do they want shaker or slab? Or is it going to be like a lacquer? There are just so many different, it's not just screen cabinets, right? So I think what is very helpful for us at House of Huck is showing them what it's going to look like with all the different design elements, with the wallpaper, with the light fixture, with the countertop, with the stools, with the light shining in at 5 p.m. in the evening. Yeah, that works for us. I don't know, Jamie, what about you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And I know that all three of us do this in our business is provide very photorealistic renderings to our clients. And I think that is huge because, I don't know about you guys, but I just got very tired of the like, I just can't see it. I just can't picture it. And it's like, okay, well, I can, and it's amazing. But there is that bridge to cross with people and like building that trust. And you're often presenting these concepts pretty early on in a client relationship where maybe they don't have, 100% full trust in like, just do it because I said it's great. So it is really nice to have those visuals to provide them where you're like, here it is. This is what it's going to look like. If you're looking at a picture of your kitchen with those green cabinets and it's awesome. And then you give them the visual and then you're there to like really hype it up and sell it and sell them on why it's a great thing, and then they can see it.
I think there's also a lot of permanence to it. So when you think about like designing your wardrobe, maybe you're talking about investing. I'd consider a $400 pair of jeans investing. So, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of money on these $400 jeans, but like hypothetically, well, one, you could probably return them. And two, in 2 or 3 years, okay, I wore them however many X times and I don't like them anymore, or it was trendy or whatever, and you get a new pair of jeans. Sure, hypothetically, you could regut your kitchen in 2 years, but no one's hiring me at least saying, hey, by the way, we're going to gut the kitchen again in 2 years, right? Or we're going to knock the house down in 2 years. So I think too, there's a feeling of permanence that is almost like suffocating or scary for the clients. And
Yeah,
that's just reiterating. Yeah, like for myself included, you're spending a lot of money. You want to know that you're going to like it and love it, I should say. And that's where I do think the renders are so helpful.
Yeah, agree. And it just gives them that confidence in their design decisions. And then you're there to back it up and make sure it goes smoothly.
Wait, but can I tell you guys something? I have right now a project that the client, this is like a dream. The client actually was like, we don't have time to like make decisions and approvals and see anything. We'll be back in December. So we're recording this in what, October of 2024. I'll be back in December. Can't wait to see it. And so talk about renders. They're approving nothing. So
That's
while as amazing as that is, I'm slowly having a panic attack. Hoping to love it.
So my question, did you still have renderings done for
I,
you and like the construction team?
I actually did.
Okay.
But there were no changes, no edits. We put them together for 4 of the 5 main spaces that we're doing.
I think renderings, and now that renderings can be done much faster, it used to take like a month. You know, you'd submit all the things, there'd be the back and forth, but I think the speed of renderings has improved, which allows us, I mean, I'm guilty of it. There's times, you know, we are 24, 48 hours from a presentation, and I'm like, I want to change the bar stool and the light. Or, you know, you kind of do a pivot and then you're like presenting the rendering that's already done. But now I think the technology and the rendering artist options are a lot broader than they used to be.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of them out there. And I feel like just the quality too, like everyone is always very impressed by how photorealistic the renderings look. And it's like insane. You can't tell the difference between a photograph and the rendering almost.
Nicole, you and I were chatting. Remember that project that I had rendered and I told you that a magazine had actually reached out to me
Yes.
wanting to publish it? And I was like, we have not been published yet in the magazine. So that was so cool, but it was a render. It wasn't the finished space. And I think that just, again, they're like, oh, all right, never mind. I'm like, but that's what it's going to look like. So I think it can really, really give that vision and that vote of confidence. I will say my revision requests drastically decreased when I started doing the renders. And for construction projects, we do elevations, as I know you ladies do too, but like for the furniture only, we always do the renders and it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, agree. And I think something that I like to try to do is keep things pretty high level with my clients, because I'm not just selling you this sofa and this chair and this rug. Like, I am creating an environment and an overall vision for the space. And I think that renderings let them come up to an elevated level and see that vision versus getting really hyper focused on an individual piece where you're like, it doesn't matter, that don't get hung up on this lamp. Look at the big picture. And I think that's a lot easier to like bring them up to that big picture when you have the rendering.
I love that. So I think designers listening, you know, get on board with renderings, work with a couple different companies, ask other designers who they use, and really put it in your contract for the clients that they are going to be investing in renderings, because it will save them money long term,
Yeah.
because there won't be changes or surprises. So I think that's really cool. Okay, so one of like the taglines we really focus on at our Nixon is functional luxury. Like, it really
Sorry. Keep going.
functional luxury, Jamie. But I think it's a thing we all work with. Interior designers are a luxury market. Even depending your budget, you could be doing a $50,000 renovation or a $4 million new build. It's still a luxury to hire a designer. And I think focusing on, yes, we want it to be beautiful. Yes, we want it to look awesome. Yes, we want the pictures. But what are some of y'all's favorite like functional things that you do in your projects? Go, Jamie.
Oh, good question. I think that in a construction project, like really considering storage is a big one.
Mhm.
Like, okay, we don't just have random cabinets here. Let's think about how, where are your pots and pans going? Like, how big do these need to be? Do we need drawers versus doors? Do we need special inserts or rollouts or what have you? Like, just going a little bit deeper into how they're using the space to really make it functional and make sure that, like their shower niche, how big are your bottles? How many things do you have? Like, I don't want to give you this tiny little niche and then you're like, I'm putting stuff on the floor because actually I have 10 times the amount of product. So just thinking about that stuff up front. And then a big one, which again, I think we all do when it comes to furniture, is like performance fabrics and that kind of thing. Like, rugs that are going to hold, not viscose rugs. Everyone else, PSA, never use viscose. Freaking A, why do they even make it? But just
I have
having
one I'm trying to tell if anyone wants it.
Right, exactly. So having materials that are going to hold up, and it's like, even if they're not like, oh, I have 8 kids and 3 dogs, Nicole, either way, like, I still want to put a performance fabric in there. I don't want anything in someone's house that's going to be like this precious thing, because it makes sense to me.
I know I feel badly that not badly. Well, maybe yeah, I do feel badly for people that think just because we just had a discovery call yesterday, and the guy was like, oh, by the way, we have 2 kids and 2 dogs, and the older dog sometimes gets sick. So like, we definitely don't want to invest in our furniture. And I said, I actually think that's when you should invest in your furniture, unless I was doing like a empty nester home. Maybe I would consider not using the top of the line, like Krypton fabric, for example. But when you have kids, when you have dogs and cats and birds, and do you have chickens, Nicole? Like what? Yeah, I think
No
that's
chickens.
when you really should invest. But to kind of piggyback on what Jamie was saying, as far as like some functional items. So she's talking about storage. In this example was the kitchen. I actually also think just the functional aspect of storing the items during the build, during the renovation, are crucial. I have a girlfriend that's building in the Boston area, and she was asking me, she's like, okay, I love the designer I'm working with, but do I really need a receiving warehouse? And I'm like, well, no, you don't. You can just wait at your house between 8 and 6, Monday through Friday, for 472 different deliveries and check everything. And so she's like, oh okay.
Drag it inside, dispose of the trash.
Yeah. And then also like the bringing things on site, and the electrician's there, and he's going to step on the light fixture that's over in the corner. And, oh, you're bringing the pillows in, but the guy has to demo for the tile, so it's all dusty and whatever. Some of those logistical items that when you're just renovating a powder room, you don't think about, right? Or like 10 years ago when you did your bedroom on your own client. Great. It was no big deal. You did wait between 8 and 6 for Pottery Barn to show up twice. But when you're doing a full home, that's a lot of items that you now need to check, store. I promise something is damaged, or even the wrong finish, need to organize to get back. Like, that's where some of the functionality of the storage outside of the house is actually like really helpful.
I think you're so right. And you guys know I have my own receiving warehouse. So I do have the luxury of having my clients' items. But sometimes I think they forget that this is what we're doing for them. Like, we have a warehouse full of their stuff. We've inspected all of it. It is ready to go. And they don't have to see the trash. They don't have to open a single box. And that really
Oh, styrofoam is
is
like the
huge.
adult order.
The worst. Yeah, I ordered a mirror for my own house and like had it come to my house, and it was an enormous box, like I had to like get a freaking jackhammer to open it. There's all the I'm like, this is one mirror, and I'm so annoyed right now. And like, what do I even
do? Back? I don't want it.
Yeah, like I threw it in the garage for my husband to deal with. Classic. But honestly, I'm like, I just don't think people think it through, and they're like, can it just come to my house? You're like, no, you don't even get it. Like, no, you don't want it coming to your house. Trust me.
Yeah. I don't want it coming to your house.
Yeah.
No, and that is, we have to present, same as a rendering. You have to present that like, if it all came to you, this would be miserable. And at the end, you would hate me and you wouldn't be happy with the house. Or like you said, something's going to come wrong and it's not going to get dealt with.
That's one of those white glove things. Like we pride ourselves on being like a, full service white glove, right, design firm. And I think that's one of the, to your point, Nicole, luxuries about hiring a luxury service that is like super, super nice to have, but also like 100% necessary. And I think another thing, so my girlfriend that's building, like I mentioned, she was also saying that this designer was kind of pushing her vendors. And she's like, I don't know, it kind of feels like salesy. And I said, okay, so maybe her like approach isn't the best. And I don't know this gal. I don't even know who it is. But sorry, Pottery Barn, if you're listening, but we'll just use Pottery Barn for an example. We don't purchase retail. I don't want to wait on the phone for 2 hours to then be disconnected, to then call back again, to then be told It's after hours and call the next day. Like my vendors, they take care of me. We had a tub that was delivered recently to a job site that we didn't make the mistake. The contractor was like, "Oh, I forgot to tell you, the drain's actually supposed to be on the other side, even though the drawings were left drain, the approvals were left drain, whatever." I called my vendor the same day. A new tub was delivered. We hadn't even paid for it yet. A new tub was delivered. She's like, "We'll figure it out. It's on site." That's the kind of next level customer service we need. And again, if you're just doing a powder room, okay, sure. You only need to call Pottery Barn about the one light. But when you're doing a full home, when you're doing a large scale renovation, like there are so many different logistics that need to be handled. And we do need to order from our vendors because we are important to them. We give them a lot of business. Whereas the random retail shop or a different vendor that we don't have a relationship with, like they don't owe us anything. So they might not answer our call on a emergency Sunday situation or after hours or, oh my gosh, Jamie, I know it's Friday at 3:00, but is there any way you can get this order through? Yeah, no problem. We'll take care of it. So I think that's really important too.
I agree. And I think that for us to provide this luxury level of customer service that we're all trying to provide to our clients, that we do have to use our vendors because we can't provide that without having that provided to us from our vendors. So it's sort of like a trickle down effect.
Totally.
I agree. As most people know, a few hurricanes have come through Florida in the past few weeks, and Jamie's in Florida as well. I got dozens of texts and emails from reps, like kind of checking in, making sure we're good. Like, you don't get that from the corporate world. You don't get that from the retail world. It really is just those that we talk to on a regular basis because they want to make sure we're okay. They want to know, like, did something get ruined? Did something happen? Like, we had to replace the rugs in our design studio. We were like, it was time, but also there was some water and some other things. And we had rugs within 48 hours,
Yeah,
which is awesome. And it's hard to get that elsewhere. So relationships, whether it's other designers like y'all or our reps, is really important.
totally. Yeah.
Okay. So I know the two of you have just the best personalities in the world.
That sounded sarcastic.
No, I love you both. But I guess one of the things I think being a designer is trying to nail down like what our clients' personalities are and like how we can incorporate that in their projects. I love collections of things, whether it's records or travel or musical instruments or really figuring out, like, even if they don't say they have a collection, everybody has a collection of something. But what would be some ways you guys like to kind of like drop in personality?
Ooh.
Like my personality or my
Your
client's
clients.
personality? Oh, I was
Your
like,
clients.
I'm choosing, we'll have an ice cream stand over here.
A single project.
No, I think so. I have a client. What's the word I'm looking for?
Questionnaire.
Use. No, well, yes, but like all my clients are like the same person. And I think that just works for me. So as far as like infusing their personality, we certainly were so the surprise project that's in December, we have this like random, it's not random, this baby grand piano that is now being placed inside. I guess I should backtrack in case they're listening. I don't want them to hear anything. But anyways, I think we just try and bring in like texture and depth and dimension to spaces more so than like anecdotes of their personal life. Just because, I mean, a lot of our projects, as you know, have a neutral base. Again, we are infusing some personality and some interest. But yeah, that's actually a really good question. I don't know. Maybe I should do a better job of that.
Okay, you think about that. I'll take it away. I think, Nicole, I know you're huge on this too. Like, original art says so much and adds so much to a space. So really, either whether the client has a collection of any of that or kind of trying to push them toward purchasing some original art. I think there's a lot of misconceptions. Like, it doesn't have to be wildly expensive. It doesn't have to be whatever. But I think that is a big thing, and having it like represent something about them. I also like to kind of take some sort of aspect of what they like or their interests and then make that into art in a less obvious way. Like, instead of, okay, Meredith mentioned the piano. So like if someone plays the piano's big for them. Getting like the scroll of like the old, I can't even think of what it's called. I have some, but it's like an old piano. This is horrible. Old piano scroll. It looks like a piece of paper with all these kind of dots in it, and like framing that or something. So it's like you're paying homage to the piano, but it's not like here's a picture of a piano. Just sort of doing something that represents them, but in a bit of a less obvious way, like doing something a little creative. I like to think about those kinds of things in projects.
I think you're talking about like the player piano stuff, right? Yeah. No, I
Sure.
agree. I think art is huge. Finding local artists is really awesome. But also, like, with Instagram and social media now, it's not hard to find real art, and a lot of artists have kind of, like, affordable entry price points where it's unique to them and is fun or, the colors are right. So or I know Jamie and I both love, like, vintage art or kind of hand sketches or things that don't necessarily have a monetary value. Like, you're
Right.
not gonna go sell it for thousands of dollars.
Right, but it's still unique. That's what I do love about vintage too. It's like it doesn't have to be $1 million, but it's something that it's not just a print from Target that everyone has. Like it's a unique piece that you can incorporate.
I have that print that's right behind you.
That's
Me?
an original art.
I'm just kidding. It's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. I have that print that's right behind you.
It's original. It says my last name. Actually, as I'm sitting here, I'm like, wow, I can't. We're doing a renovation in addition to our home, so it has not been touched for a while, and it needs a lot of love.
Okay, so speaking of $1 million, like we talked about before, was kind of we are dealing with luxury clients for the most part. What have been some of y'all's, like, favorite, like, luxury indulgences that you've put in some of these projects?
Ooh. Um, I
It
have
could be, like, construction finishes, like, I know, Jamie, you're super big with, like, millwork on the ceiling, or it could be some crazy chandelier or, just something that
oh,
isn't a standard, addition.
what's top of mind for me right now is this renovation project that we have that I am obsessed with, and the countertops just went in, and they're natural stone, this like very amazing one-off slab that I have literally never seen before. And we got it honed. We did some cool things with like mitered edges and shelves, and it's definitely a pricey countertop situation, but it's freaking amazing. Like this countertop's my whole personality right now, and it's just like adds so much. And it is like, speaking of art, and like this is a piece of art. Like I'm such a huge proponent of natural stone in a project, and I think it's just like drops your jaw, and that just does not happen with quartz. So that's like one of my favorite natural stone period, but like this specific slab that I'm thinking about, obsessed.
Has it
Was
been
it a quartzite?
Oh yeah, it's in. It's approved. It's installed. It's
Ooh.
quartzite. Yeah. Mhm.
Um, so two things come to mind. One, and again, to each his own, but we're putting a Native Trails tub. It's a $10,000 tub in the like right in front of this massive window in one of our addition projects, which is very grand. I would love that in my house as well. Maybe I will put it in my addition. And then a project that we're also currently doing it's a renovation. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of Sky Jade Marble, but I didn't know it existed. Please Google it when we're done with this / or now. It's your typical like white gray Carrara marble with neon veining. Like, and not I know you're like, is this inappropriate? I'm gonna like this color. Griffin's battle.
A prop.
It is magical. You're gonna see it and be like, I'm sorry, Meredith, you're putting this in somewhere. But we have a client right now that wanted to infuse neon throughout her
So you
kitchen.
have the one with the neon, right? So
Her kitchen or mudroom, her entry. And don't even know how I stumbled upon this, but I did. And I'm very excited for it. You will know when you see it that it's the one with the neon.
that's really
I
fun.
think that's great. I really think the natural stone said by both of y'all, every slab is different. Every slab, even if it's like Taj Mahal quartzite, like thousands of people use Taj Mahal, but every slab is different and it
Mhm.
looks great because it's different and it's real. And, you could do your edges different. You could do your miters different, but leaning into the real stone is a definite luxury for sure.
Do you guys, so not, I know we weren't specifically speaking on stone, but do you guys shop the stone? I know you don't go to like department stores, right, with your clients, be like, hey, let's pick out furniture. But do you go to the stone yard to pick the exact slab because it's natural and because if I send you a picture of, to your point, Taj Mahal, it's going to be a different slab than what's at the stone yard that I use?
For us, 80% of the time, the client comes at some point to approve. They may not, like, I may have already gone once and like narrowed it down or had them pull all of them, or kind of sometimes, as you know, you go to a slab yard, there's just one exposed, but you need 4 for the kitchen. I may
Right.
go back by myself to approve the 4. But
Sure.
we do tend to have clients because it's an investment. Some of these
Right.
slabs are, 10K each.
Totally.
But there's also times that if it's like, a powder bath and it's a remnant from the boneyard, or like your surprise project, the clients are like, "I trust you, just pick it out," and that goes well too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, actually, most of my projects with natural stone right now, I just sent the client the picture of the slab, but it was the actual slab. Like it was the
Got it.
picture from the stone yard of the actual slab of that material that we're using, and they approved it just off of a photo. But
Yeah.
either
Okay.
way, yeah.
Not
For
different.
so many of our clients, it's very hands off. They're not shopping with us. They're not really going anywhere with us. So the slab yard feels like the one fun field trip where they can take pictures. For us, we're going into Tampa or Orlando. There isn't a real great option near us. So for them, it almost becomes their outing, like their excuse to go to Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or go shopping. So we try to make it kind of fun and enjoyable, but also like, yes, I'm doing all this for you, but we can do this together type
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
We actually, I include it in my contract that that is the one place we will go, for lack of a better word, shopping for. But like you
Yeah.
said, Nicole, I usually have already maybe picked the slab, or maybe there are a couple. It's art, the render's done. You're just going to like see it and be like, oh, okay, sure, I'll spend $62,000 on these slabs.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. Okay, so we know highly affected by her surroundings is the title of the podcast because as most designers, we really are affected by our surroundings. Like we walk into a space that is poorly designed and we all cringe. The lighting's awful, kind of whatever the situation is. Or we go into a lot of potential clients' homes that they haven't touched, or maybe it was a flip or, kind of DIY. So I think atmosphere is huge for me. What are some like small changes that you tell people maybe in a consultation that they can do to their house just to improve the overall atmosphere and vibe?
Nothing.
Nothing. I feel like, yeah, I don't
Tear
know.
it all down.
Hire me. Yeah.
I'm very bad at like minor changes, but I think the one of the biggest things is like lighting and lighting temperature. Like
Yes.
that's one of the things I'm most sensitive to. Where I go get my massage, they like changed out one bulb to a really cool one, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Like this is horrible." So that is like the biggest flag to me, and that could be such a simple change, like swap a light bulb or get a new can that's a different temperature, that's a little warmer. Or even like dimmers on, if you have cans, you're using them, dimmers on them. So it's not like you're on the operating table. So I think lighting is huge. And then just like a little bit of intentionality behind your thing. I feel like when you walk into clients' homes, it's often like a mattress on the floor and like this plastic thing. It's just like there's no thought at all put behind it. And I'm like, wow, it never ceases to amaze me how much of a difference having properly scaled, I thought about it a little bit, furniture in a space like makes all the difference. So even if it's not some groundbreaking design, even if it's something they're going to do themselves, just like having appropriately sized, a little bit thought out furniture, makes a
Right.
huge difference. Yeah, rugs that are correct size. Yeah.
Yeah, like living rooms if you walked into and there's like this little itty bitty rug, and I'm just like, well,
Everything.
the coffee table fits on that. Okay. The only other thing I would say is paint. I go into so many homes where it's talking about the 2010 builder's grade, like light gray, or it just, yeah, it doesn't, not my vibe.
Yeah. Paint is
Well, I think Meredith, earlier you mentioned like my walls. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it's actually like the 1960s paneling. So when we moved in, it was, that mid brown kind of like just awfulness. And, our floors were the like orangey parquet, but overall the bones were great. And it's going to be an office. So the first thing I did was come in and painted. They're actually Sherwin-Williams Waterloo is the color, but painted all the trim, all the walls. We painted the floors kind of like a taupe color. We added velvet drapery.
Oh, beautiful.
And I'm sitting on like the same color, like velvet sofa, but we needed that. Like it just needed, and it wasn't that expensive, but I knew I could not work in this office
yeah.
if it stayed how it was. Like there was not a chance. But a weekend of painting or, get the painter there for an afternoon and it's done. So I completely agree with that.
Yeah, makes a big difference.
Okay. So if you could have any dream project without any budget constraints, let's keep it to residential.
Okay.
What would be a few things that would be your like instant go to? I can pick whatever the heck I want and the client's going to say yes. I'll let Jamie go first because I want Meredith to think about this.
Like materials, what would I pick? Or what?
Yes, like materials, like the tub Meredith was talking about earlier, or light fixtures, or if there's just a floating staircase, like what would be like 5 things that you'd be like, this is my dream to put in a house?
Okay, well, so definitely like a great natural stone would be at the top of my list. I love a quartzite. I'm like very partial to those just because they're gorgeous and a little bit hardier than marble, I think. So I would say a honed quartzite, I'm also very into honed, is at the top of my list. Some like handmade tile that's expensive. Like I have so many tiles pinned to use this on a future project that are $50+ a square foot, which isn't always in everyone's budget. So something like that. Lighting, same thing. I've got some amazing lights that are like $30K for a chandelier that I would love to use. I've got a whole board set aside that I'm ready when the project comes. Like, let's do it. And I'm trying to think in terms of there's like again some amazing vintage sofas. I really like mid-century stuff. So there's a lot of like vintage mid-century furniture that I would love to use if the budget and project allowed it. So I think that's 5.
It might have been 6, but
Yeah,
okay.
6, 7. I want it all. Yeah.
So I think I'm currently doing my dream job with this surprise renovate. It's mainly a furnishing job, at least for this first phase. But we have this like we're calling it an Uber room. It's very like speakeasy, moody, very very like Jamie is what I'll call it. Vibes. Yes, very. I'm hoping I get an approval from her. But aside from that, I actually think my dream is more a location, and that being Nantucket. It's a island off the coast of Massachusetts, like right off Cape Cod, if y'all are familiar. And not many people know. Have you guys been to Nantucket by chance? Probably not. Nantucket is very, very woodsy. And there's a lot of texture in Nantucket. And I think that would be so cool to do a project there and like I love neutral palettes, but infusing my personality in with like texture and dimension and whatnot. And I think that would be really cool. I haven't convinced anyone to use marble yet. I love marble. I have marble in my kitchen. So similar to Jamie, like just a beautiful natural stone that patina's over time that like tells this story. And it's hard for us, I'd say 50-50 on convincing clients to do custom cabinetry, but in this beautiful dream Nantucket home, we're doing some really cool custom cabinetry, a double island. I love a good mitered front apron sink, I was telling Jamie the other day. But yeah, the project would be in Nantucket for sure.
Nice.
I think we need to take a field trip and start passing out some business cards for you.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm in.
Inspiration trip. Okay. So I warned y'all earlier that we were going to do a quick this or that. I think I know the answers for most of y'all for these, but I'm going to go through, give two options. You both kind of just say what your choice would be. And it's if you had to pick one, like, don't give me but it depends on, the space. Just pick one. Okay. Wallpaper ceilings or wallpaper walls?
Walls.
Ceilings.
Marble or quartzite?
Marble.
Meredith.
Large format tile or small scale mosaic?
Large.
Solid fabric or printed fabric?
Printed.
Silver or brass tones?
Brass.
What'd Jamie say?
I didn't say anything. I've been brass for so long that I'm actually turning a little
Meredith said brass, so I'm going to say silver.
Yeah, I like to just be contrary. Let's say silver, even though I have gold everything.
Okay, exposed brick or shiplap walls?
Exposed brick.
White oak or walnut?
Ooh, walnut.
What'd you say, Meredith?
I said walnut, and I know
Okay.
you're thinking, what? You do so much white oak. I propose walnut all the time. My first space ever was a beautiful custom. We did a dining table in walnut, and it's like
I love
mic
walnut.
drop. Yeah, beautiful.
A walnut just like makes me melt. I love it so much.
Actually, we did a walnut island recently too.
Gallery wall or one large statement piece?
One large.
Large.
Okay, last question. If you guys could design, like redesign one space, what would it be? So, example, for me, it'd be like movie theaters. Like, I would love to enjoy going to a movie. But the movie theater is just kind of, even the new ones are still just kind of these grimy, gross, poor colors, poor lighting, awful snacks places. What would y'all's like version of that be? Like, what space would you want to redo?
I was going to say my house, but you're talking to coming at you in 2025, a doctor's office. We all have to go to a doctor's office. And if you have 19 kids like Nicole, you go a lot probably. We were there yesterday for one kid, Monday for another kid. Like, they're sterile and gross, and unsubscribe a doctor's office for sure.
Yeah, that was honestly my answer too, because every time I'm in any appointment of any sort, I'm like, what is going on here? It's so dated. The art on the walls is terrible. Like the combination, I'm just literally sitting there waiting, like okay, at least just paint this color and do this, and it would be so much better. Like, and again, you're going to a doctor to feel like well, and your environment has a huge impact on that. And it's like, they have not gotten the memo. So yeah,
our dermatologist did, and I know a plastic surgeon near you, Jamie, also did. But yeah, our dermatologist, I mean, it's like their color is bright orange, so it's not like
flattering
designed by any means, but they at least like are embracing their bright orange, and it's
intentional.
very and thoughtful, intentional. Thank you. And we go there because of it was this place or that place. And I'm like, well, that one's nicer, so we'll go there.
But funnily enough, my dermatologist also has an amazing, they have a new office in the last few years, and it's like amazingly designed.
Okay, so I think we're all going to start marketing towards these healthcare places to let them know that they really need to up their game.
Yes. Nicole, can I ask you a question before we go? Since this is among your first podcast episodes, I would love to hear from you. Like, what made you want to start a podcast? You have, a full-time design business, a warehouse, a team, 18 children, 18 pets. You do stuff in your community. Like, what made you want to add this to your plate?
I think the relationships we've all formed over the years, and I will put the two of you on that. Being an interior designer is very isolating, especially for many of us who are independent designers. Yes, I have a team, but I'm still the boss. And at the end of the day, it's really nice to have people you can call or text and ask, questions or just get the feedback that what you're doing is worth it. And I've realized that by being guests on other people's podcasts and just through some of these other networking things, like these relationships are really what keeps me going every day. And
Yeah.
some of these conversations are what keeps other people going every day. Many of us spend a lot of hours in the car.
Mhm.
I know I have a commute to work or commutes to projects or we're sitting in traffic, and it's really nice to hear designers or creators or we have some contractors that we're going to interview. We have some brands we're going to interview and just other creatives to know like a, we're not alone, but B, like, we need each other. We do need each other. And if I can take this platform to really just allow others to connect and build relationships, but also like remind us all that we're not crazy. Like, this title, highly affected by her surroundings, I joked that that is going to be on my tombstone. If I wanted to be buried, which I think I wanna be cremated, so, if I do something stupid in the next few years, cremate me,
Later.
please.
Okay.
Got it.
But give her a
But
that says.
the, like, being highly affected by her surroundings really is huge, and I think it's okay to be that way, and I think even for those of us that aren't designers, like, you're allowed to accept the fact that your environment affects your life and you're allowed to want to improve that. And you're allowed to pick the doctor's office that has the nicer waiting room. Like, that's okay. You don't have to be shamed for it. So, I think this is going to be a fun platform to really connect people, get ideas, but also just create community.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that.
Like that.
Okay, so I want everyone to know where they can find you. I know I'll start with Jamie, kind of give websites, social handles, anything cool you have coming up, like take a couple moments or minutes to kind of just brag on yourself and let everyone know what you do.
What I do. I'm a designer, Nicole. Anyway, you can find me on Instagram. That's pretty much the only social that I hang out on at Studio Gaspo. And then my website is studiogaspo.com. And I've got a lot of cool stuff coming up, but nothing that you guys really care about. Just cool projects finally finishing up after, many years of construction and photographing some stuff. And I do have a spec home masterclass if anyone is interested in learning more about like getting into designing spec homes if you're a designer, and maybe Nicole can link that or what have you. But that's my only cool thing for you potentially.
Yes, I'll link her handles in the show notes as well as the link to the masterclass. Meredith and I both took it, and it was great. It was really fun to watch you in your element.
Thank you.
I learned a lot. Basically, I steal everything that Jamie does, but I tell her about it.
Happy to have it stolen.
You can find me at so my handle is I'm also only on Instagram at House of Huck, or our website is www.houseofhuck.com. I have a really cool membership community. It's called the Designers Lounge. I was constantly getting emails from people or messages from people saying like, hey, do you have like a monthly call that you do with other designers, or do you have like a group that you hang out with? Nicole, you just mentioned it can be a really isolating profession, even if you have a team. And that was kind of the catalyst for starting this membership. So it's super cost effective. And Nicole's our first guest speaker. So
Oh, I
sign
didn't realize I was first. Awesome.
sign up for the membership before November 14th, I think. I forget when, and you'll get to hear from Nicole.
Yes, I'll link that. And Meredith also has a great YouTube channel. So we'll definitely link the YouTube
You guys
and your newsletters. I feel like you send out a lot of newsletters that have some great things. So if you guys want, we can link the newsletter signups, and there's a lot of fun info you guys both put out there. So this was awesome. Thanks for participating. And,
Thanks for
we'll have to do it again.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thanks, Nicole.
I'm available.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Highly Affected by Her Surroundings. I truly appreciate you taking the time to join us today. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, please rate and review the podcast. It helps others discover the show, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. For more behind-the-scenes content and design inspiration, follow us on social media. You can find me, Nicole, at Nixon Interiors, and the podcast at Highly Affected by Her Surrounding. We'll be sharing updates, sneak peeks, and exclusive offers you won't want to miss. Plus, if you want a recap or more details from today's episode, you can find the show notes at ournixoninteriors.com under the Highly Affected by Her Surroundings tab. Once again, thank you for your support, and I can't wait to connect with you on social. See you next time.